Welcome inside the Chrysler Center on the campus of the University of Michigan for our live 2018 season opening women's gymnastics non-conference matchup between the Michigan Wolverines and the Crimson Tide of Alabama. You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. These two programs certainly represent the gold standard of their respective conferences. Alabama, 9 times they've won the SEC. Michigan, 23 times they've won the Big Ten. 24 appearances for Alabama in the Super 6 final. Michigan has made it their 10. Of course, NCAA championship 6 times. The Crimson Tide have won that coveted title. Hi, everybody. I'm Bart Connor, along with my fellow Olympic medalist, Kathy Johnson-Clark. So excited to get the 2018 season underway. Now, these teams have a lot in common, but one thing besides their legendary programs is the fact that last year they both finished the year on a bit of a disappointment. They did not meet their own expectations by the season end.
And Bart, that lit a fire under both of these teams, inspiring them to go back, work hard all summer long and in the preseason so they can turn the page immediately and never look back. Now, it can add to their confidence or detract from their confidence. This first competition by no means will define them, but it can set up a good season.
And we're already off to a good start there with Michigan opening up on the vault as the home team. They get what you call the Olympic order, which means they go vault, bars, beam, and floor. The Crimson Tide, the visiting team, will start on the bars. That first vault was Lexi Funk. Alabama opens up on the bars with Winter Childers.
And Bart, they had to do some shuffling around on this bar lineup. Mac Brannon, who would normally anchor this event, was sick. 2 a.m. in the morning, started feeling sick, so they've replaced her, juggled their lineup around.
Winter Childers is interesting in that she is going to be the only competitor in tonight's competition for Alabama doing the all-around, and yet she's going to lead off all 4 events first up.
So far hitting major elements, a nice landing on that dismount. What an exclamation point there. A little bit short on some handstands, but early in the season, they're going to be working through this.
All right, here are the gymnastics rules for dual meet competition. 6 gymnasts per team on each event. The best 5 scores count towards the team total, meaning the lowest score is dropped. After all 4 apparatus, the team with the highest cumulative score wins. And as I mentioned, home team event order is what we call Olympic order. Vault, bars, beam, and floor. Back to the vault now. Polina Shenikova, the sophomore up.
She's performing a Yurchenko full. Just like her first teammate went, but what a great landing on that vault. Lexi Funk scored a 9.725 before her, so they will build on that score.
Shenikova, normally very solid on the uneven bars, competed on the vault only 3 times in 2017. So both of these teams are already calling some audibles in terms of lineup. This is the first meet of the year. They're trying to see who's ready. They're dealing with coming back from injuries, even some illness. So these teams are eager to get going on the season, but this may not be the lineup that they'll have by the postseason because they're experimenting with who is actually ready to go. Shea Mahoney up on bars now for Alabama, the sophomore from Algonquin, Illinois.
And Shea was very consistent. Oh no, on this event last year. What a shame. A fall in gymnastics, 0.5 of a point off. She will remount the bars.
Winter Childers, the first person up, had a 9.725. What do you think happened here, Kathy?
Just mistimed the release. One thing you're going to see in this early competition is possibly rushing things, getting a little bit ahead of yourself, and you really have to stay in the moment. So she wasn't anywhere close to catching that bar. She'll regain her composure. Nice handstand to the low bar. She has a beautiful toe point. Not quite as aggressive going for that handstand. Understandable after a fall, but finished strong with a half-in, half-out dismount.
And we'll go back to vault for Michigan. Their scores are Lexi Funk's 9.725, as you mentioned, Kathy. Polina Shenikova had a 9.775. And this is our first look at freshman Sydney Townsend. She's a former elite gymnast from Ontario, Canada.
And she has a huge vault, a 1.5 twist. If she hits it, it has very big score potential. She was on the Canadian Olympic team, and she was on that World Championship team for this vault. Oh, that's too bad. She looked for the landing. If you doubt that landing and need to see the mat before you land, it's really, really hard to find that landing. You got to hit the shape in the air. You can't hold back on the vault. You got to go big on the vault and then open out, and you know right where that landing is. Oh, too bad.
We go back to the bars for Alabama. Shea Mahoney, 9.05. So as we mentioned, 6 athletes compete. The best 5 scores count. So that is a score they would hope to drop, assuming the rest of the athletes hit. Ari Guerra now, Alabama junior from League City, Texas.
And she was scheduled to compete in other events, but hurt her ankle on December 31st. So it's still a little sore. This dismount, it's going to be a little tough on that ankle, but they felt she was fine to go. The nice thing about Ari, she was ready on this event to jump in the lineup when needed. So she's got her chance this year, doing a great job with that opportunity. And naturally, I expected to see a little step on that landing. You want to protect a very sore ankle. All right, here's our protractor. Let's see how she did in her handstand. The judges want to see it right on top of the bar. She's a little short, because I'm telling you right now, the judges want to see it in that vertical position for no deduction. Best part of the routine, though, is that double layout and a very solid landing.
And we're just a few days out from a really sore ankle, so good for her. Paige Ziziski now, the senior up.
Nice opened out position after that Yurchenko fold. The only little fault in that was she stayed a little piked in the air as she did the layout and the full twist. They want to see a really stretched body for a big score. Notice right here she's piked, but she looks for the landing, open those arms out. That was the nice part.
Ziziski is the co-captain, transfer from Arkansas, made a lot of contributions to this program. The score for Sid Townsend before her, by the way, with that fall on the landing and ball, 9.225, back to uneven bars. Score for Ari Guerra, an impressive 9.8. This is Jenny Loeb. An interesting story. They expected that Matt Brennan would be in the bar lineup because you mentioned she has the flu. So they put Jenny Loeb here in the 4th spot. She's a senior. This is her first time in the competitive lineup, and she's a senior for Alabama.
And her teammates are so excited for her to get this opportunity. She has stayed ready, trained hard, and this is her chance, and she comes up big. What a moment for this young lady and her teammates. Heartfelt congratulations.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you can see Brian Rochilla, the associate head coach, thrilled for her as well. Here's a young lady that won the team's Courage Award last year. She came back from a shoulder surgery in the off-season, and you can see the emotions there for this young lady, a senior, and yet she finally breaks into the competitive lineup. She had done exhibition a few times previously. Now, this could be a highlight for Michigan. Olivia Karras, the junior out of Chicago, has a big-time ball, Kathy.
This is a beauty if she can hit it. 1.5 twist, very nice in the air. Just had to check the landing, stepped forward. But so much amplitude, good form, technique. Let's check the height off the table. Beautiful, right out of our frame. 5.5 feet at the hips. Just brought her head forward and chest and had to take that step. Very nice.
Paige Ziziski before her had a 9.825. So scores building for Michigan on the vault. They're hoping to replace that 9.225. Jenny Loeb had a 9.8. So that is not only career high, season high, it's everything high for the young lady who made her first lineup. This is Kylie Dixon.
Also known as George, the giraffe. That's her nickname. She's 5'8", and watch what she does with the beautiful height on this skill here. Right way up above the bar. Absolutely gorgeous height and form to go with it. A little bit piked in those handstands, but what a nice job and a perfect landing. Well done.
Oh, what a moment for the freshman out of Spanish Fort, Alabama. She did her club training at All Olympia Gymnastics in LA.
Okay, I love the height, but check out the toes. She keeps them pointed at the very height of the release move. Absolutely gorgeous. And the dismount, watch her look for the landing. Right here, spots it, no movement.
Well done for the freshman. Emma McLean now. Score for Olivia Karras was a 9.825.
Another 1.5. They had 3 in this competition. For this early in this season, they look terrific on vault.
Other than the 1.9225 for the freshman Sid Townsend, very solid for the Wolverines in this first event.
This was really tremendous. Fought for that landing. She could be a little bit higher, but that's being picky, and then a little bit tighter form, but we're talking first meet of the season, so very well done.
The junior from Clarkston, Michigan. Good job. Kiana Winston, junior from Fort Worth now for Alabama.
Now she's changed her routine this year. She does that combination, the release move from the low bar up to the high, and then back down to the low bar with a super high pack. I think they call it the peace pack, where she flies like a dove.
Excuse me, I mentioned she's a junior. She is a senior already.
And as elegant a performer on the uneven bars
nice.
as there is. Very nicely done.
5-time All-American from Texas Dreams Gymnastics Club in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
And I think she puts glue on her ankles to keep those feet together the entire routine.
Competed 49 times last year in 14 different meets. So we are on our way with the 2018 gymnastics season. Kylie Dixon, a highlight for the Crimson Tide in the first rotation. A lot of impressive banners hanging here in the Chrysler Center, and it's a lot because of that woman right there, Bev Plocky, who's had a legendary career, one of the deans of coaches in all of collegiate coaching, 29th season here at Michigan. And look at this, 22 Big Ten team titles under her leadership, 11-time Big Ten Coach of the Year, 10 times to the Super Six, 8 individual national champions, the longest tenured coach in school history. And we're talking the University of Michigan. That's big time, Kathy.
That's huge. And then throwing it all the way back to 1983. She competed for, get this, Alabama. The first year the team qualified to the NCAA championships was 1983, and Bev Fry competed for Alabama, was their lone finalist and an All-American on balance beam. And guess what? I was commentating.
Oh my
Can you
goodness.
believe it?
And keeping it all in the family, there is Dana Duckworth, of course, Alabama's head coach in her 4th season. And you talk about her connection with Michigan. She is from Sterling Heights, Michigan, which is a 56-mile drive from Ann Arbor. And we're thrilled that many of her friends and family have come to visit her. And in fact, Judy and Dick Dobransky are here, and there's her daughter Cameron in the front row to cheer on the Crimson Tide here in Michigan. So a lot of family connections. It feels nice in here. It's 8 degrees below zero outside, but it's nice and warm in here, isn't it, Kathy? All right, Brianna Brown will be up for Michigan. She is superb on the uneven bars, and she'll be up when we come back. Arena, you notice the green ribbons in the hair of the Alabama Crimson Tide gymnast. They're doing this in support of Mackenzie Brandon's brother Brian, who was recently diagnosed as stage 4 in hepatosplenic T-cell lymphoma. When he got his diagnosis, he said, "I'm going to fight like hell." And so the team has dedicated their season to Brian, and so our thoughts and prayers go out to Brian and the entire Brandon family for a strong, healthy, and speedy recovery. Set now for the second rotation. Typically, they get about 2,500 in the house here at the Chrysler Arena to see women's gymnastics. And, of course, the Crimson Tide, 6-time national champions visiting, adds a little extra drama to tonight's competition. They flip events, and so Alabama will now go to the vault, and Michigan, the home team, will be on the bars.
And shoulders with the Yurchenko full. A little bit low, not quite the amplitude we want to see in that vault, so she had to pike down, but managed a very good landing.
The sophomore from South Dakota. As I said at the top of the show, she's doing the all-around and she's leading off every single event. That's typically a tough role, but she's going to do it on all 4 events tonight. Here's the lineup on bars for Michigan. Freshman Sydney Townsend. Now, she struggled with the landing on vault in the first rotation. She's a former elite athlete from Canada. Let's see if she can recover here.
She has very good handstands, which is an advantage in collegiate gymnastics. They really key on those handstand positions. Good form. They want straight body right on top of the bar, and she hits them beautifully. Perfect execution and form. Easy swing. She does a full pirouette into that very simple dismount, but that upgrades the combination, and that is as clean a routine as you'll see. Check this out. Notice how she got her shoulders over the bar, well over in the kip position. She takes her time, no rush at all in this routine. Smooth, easy, and clean.
Nicely done for the freshman lead-off performer for Michigan on the bars. Both of these teams are dealing with completely different lineups. Now, Alabama, 6 of their seniors graduated last year. And we're talking some big names in the sport, so they're adjusting as well.
Very good landing on that Yurchenko fold. That was the best part of the vault. She got much better block than she was getting in the warm-up. So nice to see a little bit better position onto the table, little straighter arms. They could be a little bit straighter, get a more complete push through the shoulders, but nice landing.
Maddie Desch, the sophomore from Lenexa, Kansas. Winter Childers before her led off with a 9.65. Emma McLean, the junior, doing 3 events tonight: vault, bars, and floor exercise. All Big Ten as a sophomore.
A very nice combination here. Full pirouette into her release move. Huge combination. A little bit low amplitude on that shoot over the low bar. Does a nice job with the pirouettes. Adds another full pirouette before the double tuck. Big step on the landing. They will have to take a deduction there. This combination was so nice. Beautiful position in the air. Good height above the bar. Nice catch position. You want to see those arms stretched out and straight. And this step right here, unfortunately, is going to cost her a little bit of lack of amplitude on the double tuck.
Alabama with a slight lead after the first rotation. As we move now to
much better block for Shea Mahoney. Nice, straight, tight body. Really like to see that on the vault. It gives you a much more explosive position to block from.
Maddie Desch before her had a 9.77. Shea Mahoney, the sophomore out of Algonquin, Illinois. Back to the bars for Michigan. This is sophomore Polina Shanikova doing vault and bars tonight. Parents Alex and Katya Shenikov, former Soviet national team members. She has very nice lines and really a beautiful swinger on the bars typically, Kathy.
She can be very pretty on this event. She had shoulder surgery before coming to college, and it took a little bit of time to get back into the swing of things, but she's so valuable to them on this event. Very, very nice work. Again, they're all doing that full pirouette into the double tuck. Upgrades the difficulty just a little bit. It'd be nice to see a slight step up in terms of difficulty on that dismount. They may be able to add that throughout the course of the season. But very nice form, tight feet. Look at that, she just glues them together on the full pirouette and keeps them very tight in that tuck position.
Emma McLean before her had a 9.725. Back to the vault now. Lexi Graber. Shea Mahoney, 9.85. Great job.
This is a 1.5, and boy, she got a really good landing. First, it startled me a little bit. I think it jarred her. She was going for that stick. She was slightly off center.
Every once in a while when you see them land nearly stiff-legged, it's scary on a vault like that because it's really hard to judge the landing when you're landing forward.
What's nice to see is she really earned that spot in the lineup in the warm-ups. Coach Dana Duckworth said she needed to warm up like a rock star on that 1.5, and she did just that.
Olivia Karras, 24th in the NCAA last season with an average just under 9.9 on the bars. Shenikova before her at 9.875.
Nice combination from low to high. Ooh, a little bit awkward on that handstand to low. Looks just a tiny bit rush. Now she's into very good swing. Double layout. Nice difficulty on that dismount. Well done. This is a double layout. For people wondering what makes a skill more difficult, if you see something in a tuck position, that's the easiest. Pike is the next most difficult, and then laid out is your most difficult position in gymnastics.
It's that much harder to rotate when your body is elongated. Good job for Olivia Karras. She did a great vault and now a very respectable bars routine. We go back to vault for Alabama. Abby Armstrong now. Lexi Graber before her at 9.775.
Oh, a little bit of a bounce on the landing on the Yurchenko ball, but that was much more amplitude than I saw in practice, so I'm sure she's pleased with that ball.
There's a good general cheat sheet as to what's a good score in collegiate gymnastics, Kathy.
And they're going to work up to that 9.9, but that's kind of the magic number, 9.9, for great teams to really shoot for those, as many 9.9s as possible. Good scores, 9.8 to 9.9. So when they're scoring close to a 9.8 this early in the season, they're on track.
Brianna Brown can produce 9.9s consistently. She missed much of last season because of a health issue, but good to have her back. We'll compete in 3 events tonight.
Opens with a difficult combination on the high bar. Transfers down to low with a hack salto. So far, this is the best routine for Michigan. Nice way to finish up the rotation. Excellent job on the double layout. Just a little hop on the landing.
See, she gets high five there from Scott Sherman. He has been 22 years with the program here, and he's responsible for the good work they're doing on the bars.
So the judges sit right to the side. You can see the judges' table, and they look for that perfect handstand right on top. And the gymnasts get really good at finessing it. They could be a little bit short, but they just put that head in line and show it off the best they can.
Alabama had a slight lead after the first rotation, but Michigan coming back with a strong uneven bars effort. Back to Alabama on vault, their anchor performer, Nikki Guerrero.
And she'll do the 1.5 to finish off for Alabama. So well done. She is like a cat in the air, twisting and finding that landing, always landing on her feet, knows right where it is. Little bit of form issue and not quite as high as we've seen and will see, but certainly not bad for first meet of the season. And check this landing out. That's how to land.
Final vaulter there for Alabama as we go down now to the final bar performer for Michigan. 9.9 was the score for Brianna Brown, a career high, and this is Paige Ziziski, also a senior. Oh, no!
Missed the combination. She was setting up a full pirouette and then going to swing right into her reverse hacked. So now I think they're trying to figure out if she's going to repeat it. Here's a full, and her hand just slipped right off the bar. So as she goes to put that hand down, the other hand slips off the bar. She actually managed to fall well. Gymnasts do that, thankfully. So I think she will probably either repeat the combination because she wants the difficulty.
That's typically what the coach is telling them. You know, sometimes they make a mistake at an unexpected part of the routine, and to get the most points, they have to sometimes repeat a skill.
Yes, you have to earn. Oh, she's off the. Oh, I don't. Oh, she does it.
Good for her.
Good for her. That is not easy to do. I will tell you, she was slightly off. She's still a little bit off. I think it rattled her, but she's going to use the rest routine. Calm down. Take her time. Get the feet up on the dismount. Nice double layout. Well done. Good for her. When you can fight through something like that, you have that in your back pocket now. If you can do that, you can do anything.
Scores ran between 9-7-2-5 and Brianna Brown's 9-9 in that rotation on the bars. When we come back, we'll move to the third of fourth rotations here from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Back to Ann Arbor, Michigan. There is head coach Bev Plotke of the Michigan Wolverines. The last few months have been particularly challenging for her and her entire family. Here's her story in her own words.
On September 28th, I actually had come home from an athletic department event with some of my student athletes. And my husband Jim wasn't feeling well. He hadn't been feeling well for a little bit. We thought it was just residual from a sinus infection that he had had. And we both knew that something just wasn't right, and so we decided to go to the emergency room, and little did we know that he wouldn't be coming home for a month after that. He was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia and basically started chemo right away. It's unbelievably devastating to have something like this come from completely out of left field. He underwent immediately a round of what they call induction chemotherapy, which was a 7-day continuous 24 hours a day chemotherapy, and he was in the hospital for about a month, 26 days to be exact. At that point in time, they determined that he was in fact in remission, but with the particular leukemia that he has, without doing a stem cell or a bone marrow transplant, the risk of it reoccurring was a very, very high percentage. Fortunately for us, his brother Dave from California was a perfect match. They had also looked in the bone marrow registry, and there was only one other person in the entire world that was a match for him. So he came in, and the bone marrow or the stem cell transplant actually took place on December the 26th, the day after Christmas. So we say that he got the best Christmas present ever with a brand new immune system. My son Tyler was dressing for the first time ever in his Michigan football career, and he had kind of let it slide to my daughter that, he said, I feel really selfish, and I would never say anything, but it's going to be really sad because it's my first game on the field and Dad's not going to be there. And so it was at that moment that I realized I had to keep my mom hat on in this whole thing too. So we had some friends of Jim's that are very close that came up and watched the game with him at the hospital. And my daughter and I went to the football game that night. And it was, of course, it was pouring rain. It was a miserable time to be out there, but wouldn't have missed it for the world. My husband is a strength and conditioning coach, and he has worked not only with football, but throughout, 30 years career here. And the outpouring of support from those student athletes, some of them all the way back from the 90s, the messages of support and the little reminders of the way he used to kick their butt, and that he would never let them quit. And now they're coming back and reminding him that they expect him to fight, just as hard as he pushed them to.
And Jim Plotke, we understand you're watching tonight, so on behalf of the entire ESPN family, we extend our best wishes to you for a speedy and complete recovery.
We know how tough you are and that you are fighting hard. We are all in your corner.
Tomorrow on ESPN, we'll have two great ACC battles. Number 12, North Carolina, and number 8, Virginia in Charlottesville at 1 p.m. Eastern. Then in the nightcap at 8, Marvin Bagley III and the second-ranked Duke take on NC State in Raleigh. Both games are also streaming live on the ESPN app. There is Scott Viteri, 10-time All-American gymnast here at the University of Michigan. Went off to get his accounting degree and raise his family. And he was quite an athlete. I remember often commentating about what not only a superb athlete Scott Viteri was for the Wolverines, but what a great leader he was. 3 of his 4 years, he was team captain. So he spent some time in the outside world working as an auditor in the accounting business, but he got drawn back into gymnastics. And they're very excited about having Scott Viteri add his influence and his culture to the program here at Michigan. as the Wolverines take to the beam in the 3rd of 4 rotation. Olivia Karras, the 2017 co-MVP for Michigan, up now.
And this should be a terrific event for Michigan this year. I watched some of their performances. Check that move out. I love it. A switch leg gainer layup. Never see that, and she does it so effortlessly.
Because it's hard.
It's hard. The judges really look for not just difficulty, but the position in the air on those leaps must be very precise. The splits must be a full 180 degree.
Back in 2016, she was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and she really does exude a lot of confidence, and you can see it just pour out of her.
They all look terrific in their season opener. It wasn't their season opener, it was their intra-squad, and they did a great job, particularly on this event. And it is a confidence event. You have to be so prepared so that you can trust your training. You can be calm but aggressive and really attack every skill, every landing, from start to finish. Very good leadoff routine for Michigan. Check this out. The right leg leads, then she switches and lands on the left leg. Nice originality, and then adds the beat jump out of it. Now that leap needs to be a little bit more in the split position. They'll probably hit her a little bit. And the dismount, a front 1.5 twist. Excellent landing, and she really finessed the stick. They might get her a little, though.
What do they call that? A college stick? It's like the quick salute to the judges. I'm good,
it's
I'm good.
It's a slick stick.
Winter Childers leading off again. Everybody on the Alabama Crimson Tide has new choreography this year, and Dana Duckworth is excited for us to take a look at it. Oh, that was clever.
I like seeing the expression on her face. Full in. All of the teams are trying to get those big E passes, the most difficult passes in that opening run. She came back with a double twist.
You mentioned an E pass. Typically, gymnastic skills are rated A, B, C, D, E, and F, and so on based on difficulty values. So anything in that E range is considered superb difficulty, not only in collegiate gymnastics, but in international gymnastics as well, where the rules are completely different.
And one thing for people who aren't experts in gymnastics, like I mentioned on bars, if you go from a tuck to a pike to a laid out position, the laid out is the most difficult. Multiple flips add difficulty, and then adding twist to multiple flips, that's when you're at your highest level of difficulty. Finishes with a Rudy into a back tuck. Okay, not a bad routine for this time in the season. It takes several meets into the season to really get in that meet form.
You know, a lot of the times during the preseason, they're landing on softer surfaces, resi pits. So this is, you know, one of the first few times of the year that they're doing full routines landing on hard surfaces.
Right, and you want to be smart. You don't want to under-rotate a skill, so they might be trying to over-rotate. Just make sure that it's a good, safe landing.
Back to Michigan on beam. Olivia Karras had a 9.72.5. This is senior Paige Zaziski. We saw her struggle on the bars, and we'll see if she can get it together here on the beam. Typically, she's quite solid and aggressive on this beam when she's in the zone.
You mentioned her being in the zone. That's what she really does on balance beam. Some people may notice it on her face. Very focused, very sharp focus. Some may look more relaxed and more dancey, I guess you could call it, on balance beam. But
Coach Blocky said she looks sometimes like she's a little bit angry when she's on beam, but that's her persona that helps her be aggressive.
Exactly. Full turn, one of the requirements on balance beam. All the gymnasts must perform a full turn on one foot. So far, pretty steady. Front toss with a moonwalk.
You see in the team score down there. Oh my goodness.
Wouldn't you know?
On the simplest skill.
That's why concentration has to go from start to finish. Just a little bitty stumble on the landing.
See the team score. Michigan is 5/100ths of a point ahead here in the third rotation.
So the judges are really looking for that 180. She just gets to it. Many of the gymnasts try to go over split to really show that off. She lost her composure just a little bit after the moonwalk, but got it right back.
Back to the floor now for Alabama. Winter Childers led them off with a 9.75. This is Maddie Dash. Did her club training at Great American Gymnastics Express in Kansas. Gold medalist, member of the U.S. women's team at the 2014 Worlds in China. So she has a great deal of elite experience.
Okay, she opens with the pike double back. Eventually she'll put in her double Arabian there to add difficulty.
Dana Duckworth says she works on the choreography with the gymnasts in kind of a collaborative effort. They get some help from former gymnast Sam Montgomery. And otherwise, they kind of consult with each athlete to find the right movement and music that they want to use.
It's a nifty middle pass. A requirement on the floor exercises, they do a combination pass. She combined the back 1.5, front tumbling, and then leap jumps. With a tuck double back. A lot of potential in this routine throughout the season. When she adds the Arabian, she'll finish with the pike double back and have plenty of difficulty. Good job. This is a nifty pass. Back 1.5, front with a half, split jump, front tuck. This is a double back. Remember, tuck is your easiest position, pike is the next difficult, and then the double layout that we'll see.
Lexi Funk now on beam. Paige Ziziski, 9.7. So their scores over there, 9.725 and 9.7. Lexi Funk now, the sophomore out of Illinois. Last year's newcomer of the year to the team.
She has some very nice combinations. Nice floaty back handspring layout step out there. I like this. Straddle, switch leg straddle with a quarter turn.
Very hot.
Split jump to a standing back pike. Really racks up a lot of bonus points with these combinations. And it's just, you wake the judges up doing something different. Beautiful. Nice beat jump to a polka. Which is a straddle jump with a full turn in the air. Much more difficult dance element. Nice routine.
Oh, yeah.
And a punch routine. Well done.
I mentioned earlier these teams are all dealing with the graduation of some impressive seniors. Michigan, of course, graduated Nicole Arts and Talia Schiarelli. They were the dynamic duo.
This is really nice. She does the switch leap, hits that straddle position and then the air, then adds a quarter turn before landing on the beam.
Next up on the floor for Alabama, Abby Armbrecht.
Back to Alabama for the floor. Abby Armbrecht. You see their score average last season was only 9.5. 9.725 was the score for Maddie Desch.
Beautiful double pike. I know she's going to add a double layout at some point in the season. That's just a gorgeous, very clean pike double back.
I mentioned some of the graduating seniors for Michigan. How about for Alabama? We're used to seeing Katie Bailey, Asia Sims, Amanda Jeter, Keely McNear, Mackenzie Valentine, Mary Lillian Sanders. I mean, names that we came to really get to know over the years, and so it's quite a new look for the Alabama team, and lots of young ladies that don't quite have that competitive experience at this level yet.
But they will get it, and as Coach Duckworth has told this team, they are not going to compare, not to last year, not to each other. And to quote Theodore Roosevelt, comparison is the thief of joy. So that's one of their mottos for this year. I love her fluid arms. Ends with a Rudy. I love the way she hits her position, so elongated, very stretched in her dance moves. Beautiful. This is just gorgeous execution on the pike double back. She might have, no, I think she stayed in bounds. You can touch the line, you just cannot go over it. And I didn't see a flag go up. So.
Just like tennis, on the line's good. Nice execution for her on that floor routine. Back to now the balance beam, Brianna Brown. Saw her with a 9-9 on the bars in the previous rotation. Lexi Funk scored before her, 9.825. So that's the best score for Michigan so far on beam.
Nice combination of acrobatic and dance element, the front aerial into the beat jump. Comes back with her acro series, a requirement, back handspring layout step out. Now a really well-constructed routine, you're going to see level changes throughout the routine. You will see leaps, jumps combined. Many of the gymnasts are getting those bonus points by combining. The more difficult elements you combine, the better.
You know, I mentioned at the top of the show that both of these teams had something in common, that they didn't meet their own expectations by the national championships. It was on balance beam where Michigan struggled in the semifinal competition and did not qualify to the Super 6 after coming into nationals ranked 5th in the country. So beam was the one that bit them last year.
Well, that's why I especially love seeing how well they are starting the season off on this event. You can really see the extra effort that has gone into preparing for the start of season to start off strong and start off confident.
See their season RQS, which is their regional qualifying score, how they make it to nationals, was a 49.335. But in that semifinal, half a point lower. And that's what did them in, the nerves on the beam. But so far, 4 really impressive routines for the Wolverines on beam today. As we go back to the floor for Alabama, Abby Armbrecht, a 9.775. That's her career high. This is now Shea Mahoney,
who only did bars last year. It is so nice to see her in the leg events after recovering from an Achilles tear. You would never even know it. A lot of pop here on these tumbling passes. Nice lift into pike double back. Up front with a full to a tuck somersault. Now you really ideally want to see the second somersault in that combination pass go higher than the first one. Love this choreography. Perfectly done to the music. Also enjoy the pointed toes. Every time her foot leaves the mat, she pushes all the way through the foot. Beautiful to see. Tuck double back. Yeah, I was afraid that was going to happen. Looked a little bit sluggish on the round-up back handspring. Couldn't quite get those arms up. That's just an early season error. Not quite to where she wants to be, just in terms of endurance, to be able to hit that last pass. Now here's where we're going to see double pike. She steps back, a large step back, so they will take off a tenth of a point for going out of bounds, and then a little bit, maybe a half to a tenth for the large step. They want to see a controlled landing on 2 feet. Now this was just a sluggish error. She could not quite get the speed going in the roundup back handspring and get the arms up.
Lauren Farley has mounted the beam for Michigan. Brianna Brown before her, and 9.85. Nice job. Farley is a beamer, as they say. She's from Dallas, Texas, and did her club training at the World Olympic Gymnastics Academy.
One thing you're going to see more and more are 3-element passes on beam. Sometimes 2 back handsprings to a layout, or like this one, a back handspring into 2 layouts back to back. Layout, oh, she was off, and unfortunately we won't see the 2 layouts. Completely off on the first one. She looked a little nervous in the warm-ups, warming that up. Now I can really see her, her rhythm has almost changed. She's probably a little bit angry at that scale. Nice 1.5 turn. Love to see that. That's going above and beyond the requirement of a full turn.
It's very interesting for these elite athletes that transition into college. They look at that beautiful combination.
Love that. That's my favorite part of a routine, aerial cartwheel to split jump.
You know, all of a sudden they're competing week in and week out, and there's high expectations and a team element that they're not quite used to coming from the elite world. So it's a big transition for many of these young ladies.
So this was going to be 3-element. She was slightly off, turned. I could see her hips turn a little bit on back handspring. Didn't quite have the momentum. You got to really attack that first skill. She's off center of the beam when she takes off, which you can correct that in the air, but the energy all has to go straight back, line it up with the beam. But this, my favorite part, aerial cartwheel to split jump, was exceptionally well done.
Score for Shea Mahoney was an 8.8. Nikki Guerrero up now for Alabama. This is typically a highlight routine, and as Coach Dana Duckworth said, well, Nikki is just Nikki.
She said this routine has so much attitude. I think I'm going to call it sassitude, though. I think a little bit of both.
Is that a new word?
It's a new word. I
well
just
done,
made
Kathy.
it up.
Sassitude.
Showed nice position in the air on those split jumps. One and a half to front fold. A little more difficulty in her combination pass. That's when you're going to start seeing the bigger scores, when you have that kind of difficulty. See what I mean? That's sassitude.
She looks like she's having fun out there. The senior from McKinney, Texas.
Needs to get those arms going on this. And Rudy. Strong finish. Losing her toe point just a little bit there at the end on the dance part, but this is a nice routine that's going to just get better and better throughout the course of the season.
Now Monday we'll have the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T between Georgia and Alabama at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app, with a special Spanish language production on ESPN Deportes. Lauren Marinez, this could be a highlight for Michigan. We were just so enthralled with her work on beam last year, Kathy.
When I talked about unique skills, that mount is more unique than some you will see. Just immediately get your attention. Beautiful floaty aerial walkover.
It's true, very few collegiate gymnasts take any risk at all on the mount.
Very pretty on this event, very elegant, moves with great confidence.
It's interesting, we talked to Coach Plocky the other day, and she goes, I don't think she is fully appreciated by the judges for just how good she is. And, you know, her technique and her rhythm and her precision style is all gorgeous.
That was perfectly danced to the music. That is background music, but she used it quite well. Beautiful position in that split jump pass. She really dances on beam. It's nice. It doesn't look like she's on 4 inches. It looks like she's on a sidewalk. So very comfortable routine, expressive, well performed. I believe this is a double twist. Yep. Very nicely done. Excellent routine.
And an important routine because Lauren Farley before her had a 9-1-5. Once again, 5 scores count towards the team total. So a solid hit 5th routine for Michigan.
Isn't that fun? I wish I could still do something like that. Pretty cool. Nice form throughout. And adds the split jump after the back handspring layout. Step out and the double twist. Looks for that landing and gets it.
So a clutch beam for Michigan, and back to the floor now, needing a clutch floor routine, and we have all expectations that senior Kiana Winston will deliver that. Remember, the score they're trying to replace is the 8.8 that Shea Mahoney cracked.
And I would have liked to have been in the gym when they created this routine. Kiana wanted classic. Nice double pike. Look how soft she lands. And Dana wanted to make a statement and be more dramatic. So they came up with classical but fierce. Beautiful job with the expression. Look how high she goes up on her toes. So nice. Good positioning with her feet. Floaty front layout to front full. The front full was a little bit lower than the front layout. That's just being picky.
That's what you're supposed to do.
You're actually supposed to go up a little bit higher on the second one.
No, I mean, you're supposed to be
exactly.
picky. That's your job, Kathy.
It's hard. I'm a mom, too. This is a terrific routine. Really well done. Finishes strong with the tuck double back. Comes out a little bit early. Landed with her chest down. They'll take a tiny deduction there, but the rest of the routine is really spotless.
It's interesting. The entire team looks like they're sort of ready to get into competitive form. They're taking harder landings. It's a little bit of a shock, isn't it, that first time when you're going full routines at an away meet. And the high score on the balance beam for the Wolverines was well earned by Lauren Marinas at 9.875 for Michigan. This is a tight one going into the final rotation.
Of last year, obviously it was kind of uncharacteristic, but I also think it was beneficial because we learned a lot.
When we had some of our mistakes and we came back on the last 2 events with no regret, I think that's the #1 lesson that was learned, is that we just really put it all out there and there was no hesitancy.
We learned from Super 6 that we can't get ahead of ourselves and that we can't be timid, and so when we go out there and we just put it all out there on the floor, that we'll be the best team.
When you're a part of the Alabama gymnastics program, you kind of know what you're signing up for. Our goal is to be on that championship floor every single year.
The things that we learned from last year, it's helpful to us because we can carry it and we know what to fix now, and so I think it just better prepares us for this year.
Kathy, as we mentioned at the top of the show, these two teams, take a look at their regular season RQS. Over 197 each. They're ranked 6th and 7th coming into the national championship. But at the NCAAs, Alabama scored 196 even in the finals. Michigan didn't make it through to the finals, only a 196-4, 6-3. So they finished 6th and 10th. And as you said, they're really using that. That's uncharacteristic for these programs. They're using it as inspiration for this year.
Absolutely. You can already see it at work here. I know they went back. They worked hard over the summer and in preseason. They definitely want to turn that page and look forward. You don't want to look back.
Of course, it always comes down to the balance beam, it seems. Look, this is a close one, folks. Less than 0.3 of a point. Michigan over Alabama going into the final rotation. You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. We are live tonight from a very chilly Ann Arbor, Michigan. It feels like 8 degrees below zero outside, but a warm one inside as we get set for the fourth and final rotation. Alabama on the beam. Winter Childers leading off her fourth event for the Crimson Tide tonight. We'll get them started.
And this is an event that Alabama is very rich in depth. So they've got some lineup options to go with, which is a good thing when you've got somebody out with an injury or you need to rest somebody, be able to give somebody that opportunity.
That's always been in Dana Duckworth's wheelhouse. She likes to have 9 or 10 athletes ready to go. And in fact, she often juggles the lineup just to make sure her team knows that they have accountability and need to be ready. Oh, beautiful.
That's a beautiful skill. Front aerial, swings that leg all the way back into the scale. Nastya Lukin invented that skill. Nice job, double twist. Good, solid routine. Nice start for Alabama. So this is a front aerial. Notice how it's like a front toss, rather, I should say. And that free leg just swings all the way from the front to the back into the scale position. Great balance is needed.
We'll go to the floor now for Michigan. Now this event might actually be one of the question marks for the Wolverines because they graduated their 2 dynamic duo seniors, Nicole Arts and Talia Schiarelli. So let's see what they can come up with here in the opening meet of the season. They have a very slight lead over Alabama as we enter this fourth and final rotation. Lexi Funk, the sophomore, last year's newcomer of the year to the team.
And this front double full is new for her. Well done. Really trying to push and upgrade difficulty, both on vault and floor exercise. Full to front layout.
She had a 9.825 on beam in the previous rotation. Vault, she had a 9.725. So really doing her part today here in this opening meet of the season. Several collegiate teams in action this weekend. In fact, on the SEC network, starting at 8 Eastern, Arkansas visits LSU. So we are full on into the gymnastics season here, very early in the new year.
Good to see her go for the more difficult third pass, a pike double back, a little short on the landing. Judges will take a deduction for the chest being a little bit low on that final landing and then the step forward. As we talk about landings on floor exercise, what they really want to see is control on 2 feet before they take a step, either into a lunge or into a dance element.
Maddie Desch set to go. You see her average from last year, 9.822. Winter Childers had a 9.7, so she did her part in the leadoff role for the Wolverines today.
Many of the gymnasts have changed their balance beam routines around because they downgraded the front aerial to back handspring. Some will still do it. She's doing a front aerial now to the beat jump. But she put back in her back handspring layout step out, which I believe is right here. Oh, oh, oh. Anytime you break in the hips and bend over, that's a bigger deduction than just a normal wobble. The judges can take anywhere up to 0.3 of a point depending on how severe the wobble or bend at the hips is. See a little bit of nerves, not bad, just a little tight. You can see her take a deep breath, calming herself. Whoa. Ooh. She's very nervous. And she had to turn around. She needed to do those 2 elements together, the switch leap into the split jump. So Smart thinking. I'm sure it's planned. I'm sure they practice that. Because all of the gymnasts have to earn a certain amount of bonus points in these connections, fulfill all the requirements to have the routine scored from a 10-0. Nice landing on the back 1.5 twist. So again, judges, this is one of the subjective deductions that a judge has to determine how much they're going to deduct. First there was just a little wobble, but then bent at the waist. That is a much more significant deduction. Opened out nicely there and held on to a landing.
So 2 hit routines for Alabama on the beam. Keep in mind they're a little less than 0.3 of a point behind Michigan going into this final rotation. Lexi Funk had a 9.625 only. Paige Ziziski, the senior, up now.
She opens with a pike double back. She's looking to add an Arabian double front eventually to this floor routine. On those split jumps and turns in the air, the judges are really watching the rotation, where their feet take off and where they land to get the full, either half or full rotation to get credit. Whoops. See her taking deep breaths, preparing for that final tumbling run. These routines get easier as the season progresses. They just get in better and better condition to do these full floor routines with full energy. See, in practice, nice job on the tuck double back. You don't realize how much energy it takes to really perform the routine. So the first pass was her best. Pike double back again. Her upgrade will be an Arabian double front eventually in the season. And the last pass just a little bit sluggish. She had to work really hard to pull this rotation all the way around. The round up back handspring was a little slow. So she landed with the chest down, deep leg squat on the landing. Not too bad, but it will be a deduction.
Maddie Desch had a 9.625 after Winter Childers' 9.7. Bailey Key up now, the freshman from Montgomery, Texas. Here's a young lady who was at the top of the heap in terms of elite gymnastics just a few years ago, Gabby. 5-year member of the U.S. national gymnastics team.
Just a beautiful gymnast, particularly on this event. She is a true beamer. Her coach, Kim Zemeskel-Burdett, is an excellent balance beam coach and choreographer, and she just has so many options that she can do on this routine, so many skills in her bag of tricks. But what I love is her finesse and her toe point and the execution. Completely off.
You mentioned her coach, Kim Zemeskel-Burdett. In fact, there are 4 gymnasts on Alabama's team from Texas Dreams Gymnastic Club in Dallas-Fort Worth area. Bailey Key, Kiana Winston, Ari Guerra, and Peyton Ernst.
And this is a process, the transition to college gymnastics, especially for a gymnast who has competed at such an intense, I cannot stress this enough, intense level of elite gymnastics. There needs to be some relief in that pressure. And to transition an athlete of this caliber and this value, you take your time with, and that's what they're going to do with Bailey, because she is worth it. Good job recovering. I know she feels the stress of missing that, but you know what? You got 4 years in college. Speaking of freshmen, we have some terrific freshmen to look forward to this NCAA season. So exciting. Many have competed in the Olympic Games. One for Belarus in the 2016 Olympics, Kylie Dixon. And
that's a long story. We'll talk about that in another show.
But wow, look at the experience that these young freshmen bring to collegiate gymnastics.
Lauren Martinez, we saw her superbly on beam. She's coming after Paige Zaziski's 9.675. So Michigan has yet to break over 9.7 on floor yet.
She opens with her combination pass. All last year, she did a routine that only had 2 passes. She's now gone back to a 3-pass routine. That's a 2.5 twist.
You know, in 2016, she only did beam for the team, and then she cracked into the lineup on bars and floor last year. But you're mentioning, right, only a 2-pass routine, so different experience for her, adding another additional pass. In fact, the choreography for these routines is done by Rima Zachariah, former Michigan standout. She comes back to help with this.
She's going to end with a pike double back, a big jump from last year, pulls it around. Well done.
That's a real confidence booster.
Absolutely. Good for her. So I like the way her difficulty built. She opened with her combination pass. This is actually her middle pass, 2.5 twist. And her last pass is a pike double back. She had to work really hard to get this around, but she did it. Had to cowboy those legs out. The judges will take a slight deduction for that.
Saturday at noon Eastern on ESPN2 and the ESPN app, we'll have the FCS championship game between 13-1 North Dakota State and undefeated James Madison. It's also live on the ESPN app. Beam score for Bailey Key. We believe it is an 8.675, but the judges are now conferring. Maybe you can explain a little bit what happens in a conference.
The pass that she fell off on would have been her acro pass, and it was going to be 2 backhand swings to a layout step out, which is just a boatload of bonus that she needed for her start value. So her start value was lowered because of it. Now I'm sure they're conferring because there's all these little, your requirements. You have to make sure that you fulfilled all of them. And I don't believe she had an acro series, which is a special requirement, so that's an additional deduction.
Bailey Key had several back injuries late in her elite career, which really hampered a very promising elite career, but we certainly hope that she has a wonderful and positive experience in collegiate gymnastics. We're seeing so many athletes who come from the elite program who come to college gymnastics, the team atmosphere, the support from the university. I mean, Kathy, these young ladies really, in many ways, begin to love gymnastics again, because the last time they did it, it was elite and it was brutal.
And that's goal number 1. You need to help these athletes find their love, their passion for the sport they started as little girls. And that's the most important thing to do.
Lexi Graber on the beam. They do have the final score now for Bailey Key. It was lowered to an 8.475. Unfortunate. But once again, 5 of 6 scores count towards a team total. Alabama less than 0.3 of a point behind coming into this final rotation behind Michigan.
Very nice layout pike. And that's the beauty of collegiate gymnastics, being able to drop that score. It spreads the pressure around. Yes, you're in a pressure situation after a fall, but you train for that, and you have each other's back, because everybody's going to make a mistake at some point. Beautifully done. Front toss to that scale. You can see her now relax into the routine and really begin to perform. And I love the toe point. Look at that. Just the little details are so important on this event.
Freshman from Cape Coral, Florida. Former junior Olympic vault national champion.
Wants to hit this dismount and the landing. Double twist. Little step. but a nice job. Front toss, swings that leg right through. Excellent control. And it put a smile on her face. And the round off double twist. Just a little too much rotation here. Had to step back.
As we go back to the floor now for Michigan, their three scores are Lexi Funk 9.625, 9.675 for Paige Zaziski and Lauren Marinas as well. So not into the 9.7s or better. And as you see, Brianna Brown has very little experience on floor as well. Still have a lead of just under 0.3 of a point coming into this final rotation.
And she didn't compete floor last season, so nice to see her in this event. Doing well, so well preseason.
Coaches tell her she's working on a triple full, hopefully to add that towards the end of the season.
Comes back with a pike double. Adding that triple twist is going to be huge. This will be a nice routine with the triple and coming back with the pike double.
Senior out of Alexandria, Virginia, she trained at Cincinnati Gymnastics, three-time All-American. She missed 8 straight meets last year in the middle of the season. Did come back for the postseason for the Wolverines.
One thing Brianna needs to work on is really staying engaged in the performance part. She kind of fades in and out a little bit as she's performing, but that's just somebody who's not used to competing on floor. It'll come.
Ah, good for her. So a needed hit routine for Michigan on the floor. Take a look at the scores for Alabama so far. A 9.7 for Winter Childers, 9.625. Maddie Dash, Bailey Key at 8.475. Obviously, they'll try to drop that score. Lexi Graber, the freshman, 9.875 in a clutch performance, Kathy.
Absolutely, and what that does is set up this 1-2 punch for Alabama, and these are two great balance beam workers. Nikki, their anchor, is like a rock. Kiana is gorgeous on this event.
2017 SEC champ on this event, Kiana Winston.
She's really developed a nice level of confidence on this event. Showed a little nerves early on in her collegiate career. She's settled in.
We were talking to Dana Duckworth the other day, and she said, we are blessed beyond belief on beam. We have so many talented athletes.
Look at the gorgeous flexibility. So she really has all of the qualities, all the elements you need for a truly special balance beam routine. She's got good difficulty, goes up high on toe, really stretched positions.
The score they're hoping to replace is the 8.475.
And ends with a big tough double back. Interesting, she warmed up a back handspring layup pike. Didn't do it in the routine, didn't need it here. She sort of has the option of putting it in or not. Really beautiful form. Love the toe point, the flexibility, and a nice big dismount. Really good to see that level of difficulty. Little off center. The judges will probably take a tiny deduction for that.
So 3 of 4 hit routines. Now 4 of 5 hit routines for Alabama. Olivia Karras now for Michigan on the floor. Brianna Brown, a career-high 9.8. Well done.
Olivia has a huge Arabian double front, and if she can land it, there it is, half into the double front. Beautiful landing. Now this is performance. When you've got all the energy into the dance, into connecting with the audience and the music. Even
17.
the camera.
The Big Ten floor exercise champ last year and the co-MVP on this team at a 9.925.
There you go, front layout, front fold. Very high energy routine, and she knows exactly where to look to really emphasize the choreography. Beautiful landing. She's excited about it.
Nice job for the junior from Chicago, Illinois. She was solid on all 4 events today.
She's just in great routine condition to really come out this strong on all 3 tumbling passes on the floor exercise. At the end of the competition, look at the height of that double Arabian. And she knew right where her close-up was, too. Good lift with the arms, little bit. She could go a little bit harder with the arms up, but nice job on the pike double back.
And the ankle performer for Alabama, Nikki Guerrero, coming off Kiana Winston's career high 9.9. So Alabama's scores range from a 9.625 to a 9.9, assuming they'll drop the 8.475.
Here's her triple series. She does it as well as anyone. 2 layout step outs. Oh!
What a save.
I don't know that I've ever seen her miss that. Usually not even a wobble. She saved it. I give bonus points for that save. That was pretty impressive. She anchored Alabama all last year. She knows exactly what she needs.
So the score here that she needs to keep Alabama alive tonight at 9.875, and after that bobble, that's not going to happen. Oh, unfortunate for a young lady who is known as a rock here.
Absolutely.
On the beam.
This could be the difference, but I have to emphasize the number of times she has come up big in this situation. For her to save that and not give up a fall was a huge accomplishment. Yes, it may make the difference and not come up with a big enough score for the win, but
Olivia Karras, a 9.925, a career high for her, and Emma McLean will wrap it up for the Wolverines on floor.
And she is another powerful sky-high tumbler.
Nikki Guerrero's score is a 9.625. So, folks, Michigan is going to win this one at home against the 6-time national champions Crimson Tide of Alabama. So Emma McLean can just sell it to the crowd because this is icing on the cake.
I don't think she knows that, but she needs to sell it. That middle pass was well done, as well as anybody has done that combination pass, the front layout to the front full.
McLean, the junior from Clarkston, Michigan.
Going hard for the final pass. Good lift, pike double. Excellent finish. Good for her. Good for Michigan. Really nice job.
That's the final routine of tonight. We'll be back with the final scores right after this. Women's College Gymnastics was brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Well, Kathy, a great win for the Wolverines tonight. An impressive 196-2 over Alabama. Congratulations. Now make sure to switch over to the SEC Network at 8 Eastern tonight for more college gymnastics action as Arkansas takes on LSU. Coming up next, college basketball as St. Peter's takes on Iona. For Kathy Johnson-Clark and our entire crew and birthday boy Nick Rude, I'm Bart Connor. We'll see you next time. So long from